Okay, so hello everybody, welcome. So today's session, we're going to be talking through a marketing automation fundamentals webinar. Essentially what we're covering today is the lead generation funnel, and we'll look at how you acquire your leads, and then we'll take that into Marketo, and then we'll provide some best practices and recommendations of how you can build out your campaigns, use dynamic content, for instance. So hi everybody, my name's Sam Gossage. I'm head of marketing automation here at Social Garden. And I've got my colleague with me, Owen Taffinder, who is our senior marketing automation consultant.
Hi, thanks for joining.
So Social Garden are essentially a performance marketing agency. We cover full funnel marketing services. So we specialize in digital advertising, content marketing, marketing automation, and customer relationship management. And then we primarily work with companies within the property sector and education sector, but we also work with a number of companies across e-commerce, retail, not-for-profit, tech, to name other industries. So I've took a quick screenshot here of the website. I think this is a good way to visualize some of those services, but go ahead and take a look at the website if you're interested to hear more. So in terms of the marketing automation platforms that we support, so we work primarily with Salesforce, Salesforce Sales Cloud, Marketing Cloud, Pardot, Marketo, which we'll cover today, ActiveCampaign, HubSpot, Oracle, Eloqua, Dynamics 365 for marketing, Campaign Monitor, MailChimp, and Pipedrive as kind of marketing automation CRM platforms. And then we also work with Twilio and Burst SMS as SMS technology platforms as well. So what is marketing automation? So to take it back a step, marketing automation is essentially the technology that helps manage processes and multifunctional campaigns across multiple channels. It really started out with how you could automate your messages across email, web, social, and text. And I like to think about marketing automation platforms as the kind of system that operates between marketing and sales to really unify the marketing operations and deliver high quality leads across to sales effectively. So if we think about your acquisition strategy and the logic behind that, let's think about like demand generation, lead generation, marketing automation tactics. And then you have your unknown visitors that come into your website, they convert, they become a prospect. You're then looking to nurture those prospects through to sales leads and hand them off as opportunities and pipeline that goes through to revenue. So if we take that to the next step, let's think about how you align your messaging to the prospect journey, right? So you have different phases within the funnel. You'd have top of the funnel content, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, and then the post-purchase process as well. So you might start with an awareness piece of content that goes through to consideration, evaluation, trying to convert the prospect through to whether it be an appointment, whether it's an application if you're an education provider for a course. It could be to sign up for a product or service, to then purchase that particular product or service, becoming a customer, a student, a user, depending on your business case. And then you're looking at having messaging that applies to retention and advocacy as well. So we'll use these two kind of funnel logics, the one in which we're looking to acquire the prospects, and then how we align messaging through the prospect journey in terms of the way that we'll speak about Marketo today as well. So taking that on board and to the next phase, what we'll do is we'll look at Marketo, we'll look at what is Adobe Marketo, we'll look at the basic navigation, what are marketing activities, what is the design studio. We'll then map that lead generation funnel and show you how you can visualize that within Marketo. We'll look at audiences and smart list setup. We'll look at then how, when you've got your audience, how you can personalize content and personalize the web experience as well for that audience. And then we'll look at when you've got the audience and you're looking to convert some of those leads, what does lead scoring look like? How do you measure and how do you prioritize the leads and share those leads with sales to create interesting moments? Then go back into Marketo and we'll look at the reporting and we'll look at how you can prove and improve upon the impact and look at attribution against some of the programs that you're managing. So I'll kind of work with Owen here and I'll talk through the system with Owen. But at this point here, I'll hand off to you, Owen, and we'll jump straight into Marketo.
Thanks very much, Sam. I'll just take over the screen share. Hopefully you can see my screen.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, all good. Great. Well, welcome to Marketo. And before we dive into all the capabilities and features and details, I think it's just helpful to answer the question, what is Marketo? What does it do? And the elements that you see along the top here are some of the core pieces to that. So starting with the database, integrated with your CRM or as a standalone tool, Marketo is going to be keeping a complete record of your customers, the customer interactions. We can use all the data that we're collecting and share that data with the right people at the right time for effective personalization. And in addition to that, then you have your design studio where we can build out our emails, our landing pages, our forms, our assets that we're reusing in different campaigns. And then bringing all of that together, we've got marketing activities, which is where we build out those programs. We're combining our audiences with our experience, with the reports that we need. And I think it's just helpful to explain some of this so that you see how Marketo is different from just an email marketing tool. You saw at the beginning, Sam showing the tools that we work with. MailChimp is a great example of a really nice tool to build and send emails. But it's much more useful to understand Marketo as a lead management platform. And that means, as well as having those email capabilities, we've got true multi-channel capabilities when it comes to marketing, but also on the operational side, things like lead scoring, lead handoffs, lead nurturing, integrating and collaboration between marketing and sales. These are the additional capabilities that make Marketo what it is.
Yeah, nice. I think it's a really good point. And I spoke there about lead acquisition strategy as well, and then the prospect journey. It'd be cool to maybe jump in and take a look at the modular aspect so that we can look at how you'd visualize that journey, look at the lead stages, how we'd create those phases.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a great place to start when we introduce the platform, introduce the capabilities. Again, before we dive into a specific email or landing page, is that we take this much broader view of what we're trying to achieve. And this will look very different for different industries, different types of organizations that we work with. But the example that you can see here is for a university, for a customer journey where we want to track right the way from the first time somebody visits our website anonymously through to them becoming a student, even graduating, and all of the core stages in between. And the reason that we do this is because we want to nurture our prospects from one stage to the next. And best practice is to have different content and a different strategy depending on where somebody is in their journey. And in addition to that, most organizations have some kind of a definition of marketing and sales stages and qualification and opportunity stages. So it's a chance to make sure that all of the marketing that we're doing and the lead management processes are aligned with that. So if I click on phases here, what does it mean to be a marketing qualified lead? What is the definition of that? When do we pass people across to sales? What kind of information do we pass across with them? That kind of high level view. And you can see underneath all of this, this is like a funnel or visualization of that journey. But if we were to click on some of these transitions or some of these stages, you might see at the bottom some references to scoring and scoring activity. And we'll touch on that later. But underneath all of this workflows, moving somebody from one stage to the next, keeping track of where somebody is, keeping track of conversion rates. And we have scoring programs that are aligned to qualification processes internally.
Yeah, nice. So yeah, as you can see there as well in the phases section, you've got some of those stages that we spoke about earlier: marketing qualified lead, sales accepted lead, sales qualified lead, and we can apply that logic to different business use cases as well, right? So let's say we were going to jump from here, and then let's think about our audience that we're targeting. So how would we build out our audience? How would we create different types of lists that we could target prospects with? And it may be quite cool to go and see the marketing activities section and look at smart lists in terms of the way that we would manage that.
Yeah, sure. So I'll just jump to an example I've got preloaded here in the interest of time. But actually, smart campaigns are really the engine powering everything in Marketo. So I'll just show a couple of simple examples here. but it's more the concepts that we want to talk about, and Marketo's approach to building an audience or building some criteria for a campaign, and then what we can do with that. So this is a pretty simple example where I'm looking for people in Australia who have an interest in studying agriculture, and I want to know when that group of people visits our website. And I could put in a specific page, or I could say, I want to know when they visit any page of our website, or maybe add some exceptions. But if I just get rid of one of these triggers, you see on the right-hand side here, if I scroll a bit, I've actually got thousands of different data points that we can use to build out whatever kind of audience or whatever kind of logic we need for personalized campaigns. So we've got every field in the database, every piece of information we could have about a customer, and we can group them together through whatever kind of information they provide. Like, for example, the country they're in, what they're interested in studying. Maybe if I do a search for method here, we might also want to find people who are interested in studying specifically on campus or online, for example. But with that, I've also got the ability to listen out for behavior and activity. So you see all these real-time triggers at the top, what you saw in orange before. It's a chance to combine the audience or the criteria with some kind of activity. So we had visits web page as an example. If I just do a search for clicks here, I could pull out clicks link in email, and maybe, again, it could be any email in the past 30 days, but I don't want the link to be I don't want to count the unsubscribe link, for example. So you see, we can start to be really specific and granular with how we build this audience out. And I want to find people who have clicked a link within the past 7 days. And maybe I want to find people who have done that at least 3 times, for example. So you see, we could use this to find an audience of people who have watched content on the website, or visited the pricing page of the website multiple times, or looked for more information. Really, any kind of a audience we want to create here. You see how easy it is to pull that criteria together.
Yeah, nice. So we've started to build out our list, and then if we think about the smart campaign function, it's kind of like the if this then that, right? So you have your smart list where you create the if, so the rules, and then you have the flow, which is almost like your action. So it'd be cool to just jump into that and just quickly take a look through some of those actions as well off the back of the triggers and filters.
Yeah, for sure. So now we have our audience, and we can say anytime this happens, anytime people that match this group perform this activity, what do we want to actually happen? And that could be external, or it could be internal, or it could be a bit of both. So you see, I could use this to send an email and then wait a week and send another email to that group of people. I might also be using this for internal operational activity, like, for example, updating somebody's score, or even thinking more broadly about how we share information with other systems, the CRM. You see, you could call a webhook here, for example. So we can create all these different journeys in this way, and different workflows for different purposes. But what Marketo is really best at is, or what it suits best, are organizations that have generally high consideration, long buying cycle. So we're looking at universities here. That's a great example. We also work with property companies, another great example, because these are situations where usually people take quite a long time to make the decision, and they can be nurtured over that period of time to help them make a decision. And because it's high consideration, rather than sort of sending one-off emails and using this kind of structure to batch and blast, just emails at certain groups of people, where we really see the most value is in building out nurture programs or engagement programs. So being able to add somebody to an engagement program rather than just send them an email. Well, what does that mean? I can show you a simple example here, which is where we have, if we go back to that funnel we looked at in the beginning, content that's aligned to somebody's broad stage in their journey. So the kind of content that we send people at a very early stage when they're just finding out about us, should be really different to what we're sending them when it comes to decision time, and they're just comparing us against one other choice, for example. And so, yeah, best practice absolutely would be to, once we've designed this journey and these stages and broadly how it looks for somebody to become a customer with us or a successful engagement, is that we then have supporting this a nurture program, which allows us to engage with people over a period of time, and then not just with emails, but also thinking about things like events and webinars, really important, SMS, personalized web campaigns. Maybe you saw, if I just go back to the homepage here, some of these different channels that we can manage from Marketo, things like dynamic chat becoming important as well. As I say, web personalization, predictive content that we can use on landing pages and things like that. So it's not just emails.
Yeah, nice. So I think it's a super important point, right? Multi-channel approach is important, and it may be that we have webinars for tech companies or events, and we can manage all of those within Marketo as well, the creation of those programs and different types of campaigns. You mentioned there web personalization and the way in which we can personalize content across the web and the web experience as well. I think let's say we've got our audience now. How do we go about that? How do we take that audience and then maybe even unknown visitors, and how do we personalize the website to be able to show different offers and different products or services?
Yeah, let's jump into an example. And what I like about Marketo's web personalization capability, because of course there are lots of tools out there that allow you to create personalized content on the website. But what's really nice about Marketo's, I think, is that you don't have to be a particularly technical or a web developer or that kind of profile to manage these kind of campaigns and create these kind of campaigns. So the easier we make it to create these multi-channel experiences where we can go beyond just email and think about the website, think about SMS and other ways that people kind of consume our content, and the easier we can make that to do, the better. And so in this case, once we've defined our segment, and that can be just like we were looking at before, people that we know about, people that are already in our database, or as you say, Sam, just anonymous people, we don't know who they are, but we could still create a segment for them based on the fact that they're coming onto our pages multiple times, or they're coming from a particular search query, or some of that anonymous behavior that we can still segment by and personalize for. And then that way we just line up our segment with our content here, very easy to use, what you see is what you get editor. And obviously I'm not much of a designer, but I can create something like this, and I can say, I want that to be visible on the Social Garden website for people that have come on multiple times, but haven't yet subscribed. And then it should just be a case of, once we've got that set up once, being able to create whatever kind of content we want. Could be a pop-up, could be replacing a zone of the page, could be a little widget. And it's just another way to entice people to convert and to get more people into that known stage of the journey from anonymous, don't know who they are.
Yeah, nice. So it could be, for instance, that we've created our agricultural audience there, and we've got them coming in to sign up for a newsletter or subscribe to the honeypot, as we've called it, and we're showing them that like beekeeper image. But then we target a different group, maybe prospects that are interested in business or whatever it may be. We show them a different type of image. We create different content and copy to go into that ad as well. So super powerful to personalize the experience. So okay, let's say we've got our prospects, they've filled out the form, they're within the database, and then we're looking to send those prospects emails and messages, again, aligned to like the awareness, the content, the consideration, and evaluation phases that we spoke about earlier. How do we personalize the content within the email? How do we go about creating dynamic content and then adding field merges, for instance, to personalize that part of the journey?
Yeah, again, very easy to use tools and quite flexible as well. So if you do have more technical resources, or you're looking to do or meet more advanced use cases, you can use Marketo for that. It's very powerful, but you don't have to be a tech whiz to create personalized content. There's a lot of drag and drop tools and easy to use tools with a business user focus. So if I just go back to my sort of testing area here, you see I've got an example email campaign. I could just very quickly load up an email just so that we can see how easy it is to personalize some of those different concepts that you mentioned, Sam. So firstly, personalization tokens, simple, but they'll always be important. So I want this subject line to say, "Hi, Sam, we'd love to tell you more about what's going on this month." Having the ability to access your first name, not just that, really, any information that's in the database for personalization can be really useful. So if we want to pull in somebody's offer or application for university, or somebody's property that they're interested in and details around that for property companies that we work with, whatever's in your database, we can pull out from within here as a token that we can use inside the email, so that we can create one email which at scale is personalized for lots of people.
Yeah, nice. And we know, if you use a first name in a subject line, it often performs a lot better than not including that within a subject line, right? The open rates increase, the click-through rates increase as well. And obviously we can include that within the body copy of the email itself as well, or just within the subject line.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool to look at like the dynamic content elements as well, how that works.
Yeah, so as well as being able to change parts of the subject line or parts of the email, we could actually have completely different subject lines for different segments of our database. And that goes for any of the content within the email. If we want, for example, to replace certain images or have different images for different segments, we can enable that as dynamic content. So within here, I can choose any of these elements to make dynamic. And now if I wanted to have, say, a different subject line for students and parents, for example, if I wanted to have a different photograph for a different segment or change some of that content, it means I can do more with less. I don't have to create 5 or 10 different versions of an email. I can have one email going out, which is as relevant as possible to a broad audience using these simple tools.
Yeah, nice. And obviously we spoke about using the design studio as well. And the design studio is where we might use or hold all our templates, and then we would push that across to marketing activities, almost like using a center of excellence where we've got the template set up. Here we'd go in, we'd edit the template, change around the content and the copy to make it dynamic as well. Cool. So let's say we've got these emails going out and we've got prospects engaging with the emails, converting, clicking on some of the CTAs, filling out forms, etc. So how then do we look at how good this lead is in terms of like their fit, the profile, the person, also in terms of the engagement that they're having with us? I think it'd be really good to see lead scoring in action, and then just to look at the way in which we grade some of the activities that a prospect would take.
Yeah, so again, I like to keep going back to this view here. But we mentioned, what does it mean to be marketing qualified, for example? That could be someone with a score of more than 100. How do we move somebody from regular lead to engaged lead? We use scoring data there. So what does that actually mean? Well, underneath all of this in Marketo, we can build out different scoring models that, as you say, Sam, look at both behavior and activity, and how good a fit a lead is based on things like information they provide to us on a form or demographic information. And so for this to work effectively, we'd need a flexible system. We're going to need to make changes over time, because you see, we're putting values behind certain activities so that when somebody attends an event or fills out a form or watches something, that's going to be increasing their score. And likewise, if they're unsubscribing or not attending things or declining things, then that can decrease their score. So what the idea of this being then is, when we pass all these leads over to a sales team, push them across, that we have some prioritization. We know who the best fit leads are. And for this to work, as I say, over time, we might want to come in and adjust some of these values, like increase certain things or decrease certain things, because we want to take a data-driven approach to what does it actually mean to be a hot lead or our best lead? What are the common attributes of successful closed won engagements. So we like Marketo for this because it's really flexible. You can have different scoring models. You then combine different scores together. You can make these changes really easily. It's got this token structure. Like we just talked about tokens in the context of personalizing an email, but you can also have huge internal efficiencies with tokens, like with scoring here, where I could just update this set of values and then all the workflows, if I just quickly expand on the left-hand side, you see we've got all of these different workflows that are actually running this scoring, can just inherit the changed value from within here. I don't have to go in and change anything. And another just quickly instance where these tokens can be really useful is on the event marketing side of things. Yeah, if you're running a lot of webinars or live events, you can save a lot of time with tokens, where instead of having to recreate any invitations or reminders or follow-ups, we can clone an entire pre-existing program and just change a set of tokens for the variables. So in the context of webinars, you can use these for like the images in your email, the link, the speaker, the date, the time, and then in 30 seconds, you can have a completely ready to go webinar campaign just using a previous template with this kind of scalable token structure.
Yeah, nice. So works around that like kind of parent to child logic, right? You've got the parent scoring model here where you're updating that and then it will go across the system. I think it's also important to think about different types of scoring models, right? You know, we can think about here where we have the profile, the fit of the person that's very geared towards the actual contacts, and then you'd have the engagement scoring model. You know, for other companies that maybe that you have like a business to business account based scoring model as well, thinking about the firmographic data as well as the demographic data, organization information. It may also be that you include technographic details as well, so technologies that different companies and people are using. So those different types of data points that you're looking for are very specific to your own prospect's journey and the people that you're selling to as well. And then with that, what we can do is obviously we can pass across what we call interesting moments, right, to the CRM, so to the sales teams. I think it'd be really cool to see that and see almost how we take this model and then apply logic to the model to say, okay, this is an interesting moment that we've seen across this prospect and in terms of the actions that they've took, and then pass that across to sales so that they can act on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is all about information sharing and adding value and making the lives of the account-facing teams and the sales-facing teams easier. So it's about taking all of this information that Marketo is collecting and making it useful. And if you think of like a typical CRM experience, whether that's Salesforce or Microsoft Dynamics or something else, for a lot of organizations, they have lead generation forms like across their site or on ads, and people fill out the forms and then they just get identified as a new lead, thrown into the CRM, and then somebody has to kind of go through a list and pull up all of these leads and try and qualify them some more and see if they're genuinely interested. So if you don't have something like Marketo, you just have a big list of names of all the people that have filled out the form and maybe the information that they've provided on the form. What we want to do with Marketo is take all of this scoring and simplify it so that we can prioritize our leads based on behavior and fit, but also give those teams the context and the information around that. So I have to be a bit careful with what I show you here with real customer data, but I could show you a screenshot and then a real life example. But if you see this view here, this is what will exist in your CRM. This will replace that view of just leads coming through, where now we can prioritize in a simple stars and flames model for our best leads using that scoring. And we can see the last interesting moment for each of these people. They read this paper, they attended this event, they clicked on this email. And that can really change things for, especially when we're dealing with high volumes of people that we need to reach out to, or if we want to find an easy way to identify who our best or most at-risk people are. So this is kind of a screenshot view. And then if I just jump into example test profile inside Salesforce, you can just see here what it looks like. We've got Marketo sales insight, and this is showing us anything that we've defined as interesting. So in this case, that somebody's visited more than 7 pages in a day, but we could also see all the underlying scoring activity or emails they've been sent and whether they opened and clicked on those emails, etc., inside the tool that you're already using. You know, we wouldn't be expecting account teams to come and log into Marketo, but now they can see this information that Marketo has collected. And then that's in addition to this synchronization of fields, bi-directional sync of fields, where any update in Marketo or the CRM will update the other system.
Yeah, nice. So like you say, you've got that iframe there, which you just add onto the lead view or onto the contact view, and then it plugs straight into Marketo. So, you know, like you said, they can just go in and take a look at the emails that have been sent to the prospects and that they've engaged with. As we mentioned, those interesting moments that we've set up. So not just the individual score increments, but where it really impacts, you know, viewing a number of pages or, you know, taking a distinct certain activity which is flagged for sales. Cool. So we've got our sales leads. They've gone across to sales. It's then gone across to pipeline as opportunities or deals through to revenue and close one business. How do we take a look at the reporting and performance insights from within Marketo and then attribute the actual performance of the campaign to pipeline and revenue?
Yeah, so with Marketo, you've got quite a few different reporting options depending on what you're looking to do. And maybe you saw on this home screen, there's like an email insights module for detailed email performance reporting. There's custom report building areas like the Revenue Explorer, where you can create whatever kind of visualizations and metrics and dimensions you want. And then there are all the very kind of tactical reports and operational reports on everything that we're doing in Marketo. What we're going to look at to finish up today, though, is performance insights. And again, we kind of have to use screenshots here because of customer data. But we really like this kind of a reporting view, just in terms of its simplicity and the way that it really gets marketing and sales on the same page and allows us to report on marketing performance at different levels. So that first level engagement is always going to be important to, you know, obviously understand how many people clicked on your email or attended your webinar or saw your ad. And these kind of success metrics are important, and engagement metrics, but we want to be able to offer, in addition to that, look at pipeline and revenue contribution, where again, we just look at all of the channels that we're running from Marketo or managing and all of the programs that make up each of those channels. And we can see whether any of them actually led to an opportunity or close one deal. And we don't have to get into really kind of complicated or detailed attribution modeling, although that is something that we do with some clients. But even without thinking about weightings and things like that, just thinking about whether we have all these touch points with a customer, whether we can show that people that attended this event or clicked on this email became customers or we had opportunities with them, and what the value of those opportunities were. We can see that in this kind of view. And then that allows us to quite simply see things like cost per lead or the cost per close one deal or the value of the pipeline that's being influenced by all of this marketing activity. And that can be really powerful.
Yeah, nice. So it's almost like, you know, using the marketing automation platform here, using Marketo as your marketing operations, revenue operations tool to assess and analyze across all of the multiple channels that you're working from. So we spoke about, you know, email, website, you've got display ads there, content syndication, maybe, you know, even looking at paid search and all of the leads that are entering into the system. And like you said, Owen, I think you make a good point. You know, we could look at like first touch, last touch, multi-touch attribution, but really it's about trying to nurture and engage with the prospect across the journey. And then all of those different touch points working together to drive the pipeline creation, to drive the revenue creation as well. Cool, nice. So we've looked at our reports there. I think that's a really good kind of summary end to end, looking at the full funnel process within Marketo. Was there anything else in particular that you wanted to jump into today, or?
No, I think we could,
there, right?
Yeah, we could do much longer sessions on all these topics. There's a lot we didn't get into or cover, but I like this as an introduction to those different lead management elements.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you're looking to understand more about who we are, So who Social Garden are, Owen's just navigating now, but you'll see, you can navigate to our website, socialgarden.com.au. We have our services section that I was speaking about earlier, where we have marketing automation there. And then in the platform section, we also have a specific Adobe Marketo section. We have a number of case studies on there as well. So further down the page, we have case studies from JG King Homes. We have case studies from Curtin University, and then Builders Academy Australia. And if you're interested in working with us or understanding any more information, then please get in touch with us. There's the contact us number at the top of the page. And then as Owen's showing you there, we also have a number of blogs that come out each month as well. So we have one there on understanding the customer journey, best practices when measuring email performance, and then benefits of using autoresponders. So thanks again for watching the recording. Hope you have a great day.
Thanks very much.